So when you think about core concepts for the creative side of e-commerce brands, so we're talking about photos and videos and A+ content and to some extent social media, maybe Amazon posts, all the different pieces of the creative aspect of telling your story, being a brand that, the digital shelf, right? Um, when you
Yep.
think about that in a nine-figure brand and a brand new brand or a supplement or home goods or these different, do you think about all those things in the same way? Are there differences or similarities, or is it all kind of, one process?
Yeah, I think the table stakes are different. I think if you're an omni-channel retail brand that has a national presence and you've got retailers to feed and you've got a broader brand and audience and you've got teams of people, I think the content ante or table stakes is a lot greater. Like you've got to bring a lot more of a heavy creative influence and brand sort of the table. I think what's interesting about Amazon, just in terms of entry point and as well as how you can be successful, is that it doesn't take much on the Amazon front. I think it's still critically important, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but most of your successful Amazon era sellers that kind of came up in the 2015 to 2018 range, they suck at creative. They suck at brand. Their listings
Yeah.
are kind of
Yeah.
nothing to write home to mom about. Their brands suck, but they had, for lack of a better word, the balls to kind of push the chips in. They had an understanding of supply chain, how to get stuff from China. You know, they were willing to go place a $20,000 PO and kind of roll with it. And they had first mover advantage, and that first mover advantage gave them rank. It was a lot easier to enter. They got early review volume that kind of snowballed. So I think a lot of that era of Amazon sellers, which we're just kind of starting to see inclinations of that going away, they're not great at creative. So I think for Amazon, for me, while you don't need to have that omni-channel nine-figure brand, licensing music and kind of paying hundreds of thousands of dollars for production for broader content, Amazon, you can really just do a couple degrees better than a lot of these folks are doing, and it can have really phenomenal impacts. So I think for me, it's a critical piece of the puzzle. It's probably, I think, one of the linchpins to my strategy, and I think it will be a key underlier for anybody that's successful in the next era of Amazon. But the cool thing about it is it's like its entry point is not very significant. For $1,000, you can get really, really impressive creative assets that are eons above what everyone else is doing. And that investment payback is like, very measurable. You can look at it in terms of CTR, ACoS, all that. It's like, sub 6 weeks versus the traditional world that requires bigger production value. You might spend $1 million on a commercial and you'll never really be able to quantify that. So long-winded answer, but
Yeah.
I think it's key, and I think it doesn't take much on the Amazon front to be successful with it, in my view.